It's the lady in black, the track too tough to tame. It's Darlington Raceway for the 3-Wide Racing League Cold Hard Art Cup Series, race number 11. Welcome to Sim TV. My name's Kyle Heyer, joined by Liam Sheen tonight as we get prepared to go racing from the lady in black. Okay, well, I think my intro is broken, Liam. We're going to just head straight into it, I guess, tonight. Something was a little bit, I was joking with Liam that I was, I'm not going to use the word, but I was unmessing up all my things. And the intro seems to be a little bit off. I don't know why that is, but I'll have to sort that out later. We're at Darlington, the track too tough to tame. Liam, welcome back to Sim TV. Tonight, it's a long one, 183 laps with the 1987 stock cars. Throwback night in more ways than one. The challenges go far beyond just the racetrack tonight.
Yeah, these cars are definitely tough to muscle around any racetrack for that matter, and especially at Darlington, it's going to be really difficult for these guys to try to keep their cars off the walls and everything, and keep their cars all clean and green. And it'll certainly be a tough challenge for these drivers tonight as we get set for 184 laps.
All right, so heading into qualifying here, and we've got about 26 drivers lined up and ready to go qualifying. This is going to be a fun one tonight just because I think we talked about the longevity of the tire being a concern before we went live here tonight, Liam, but also the day-to-night transition. It's a throwback night. We got drivers running their throwback schemes. As you see, Jeremiah Llewellyn with the Toys R Us livery on board that car this week. He will start rolling onto the racetrack, onto the back straightaway now. Cameron Rich is back this week. He's always a threat, and look at the chrome silver on the front and rear of that Boeing Ford Thunderbird, and he'll head down the back straightaway. And qualifying position, how much does it matter in a race this long tonight? Will it matter at all?
It kind of depends. If a lot of drivers, struggle to make laps and, practice and everything, or try to struggle to make a long run, I believe that track position may not be important if you just want to survive and keep your car clean to the end. But as you see Cameron Rich slam the wall there, that's just that's a preview of what we're going to see tonight with a lot of drivers losing control. But it depends. If a lot of drivers can't really do a long run in this race, I'm pretty sure you'd be safer at the back than the front. But if you're a contender and you can keep a long green flag run going, you can definitely be able to qualify up front and stay up there.
Jeremiah Llewellyn comes off of turn number 4 and across the start-finish line. Already times going up on the board. You can follow our timing at simtvbroadcasting.com/timing to follow along in real time as DREW EISENMAN goes to the top of the board in his number 77 Eisen Designs car. Good-looking livery change. That's a rare one for the 77 to change what he's running. RAYCE CLARK goes second quick in the U-Tool, the GTA-sponsored second place car right now. Chuck Sweeting sits in third, the first of the Chevrolets. As he comes across the line for his second lap, he will improve to a 29.697. He will not jump up any positions. Brady Smith is out on track as well as many others. Let's go over our, let's take a look at our weather information here today, Liam, as the track temperature is going to continue to drop here as the sun goes down. Well, it's pretty cool, so I think the grip levels will be relatively high.
Yeah, I think that might assist the drivers a little bit. If it was really hot, I'm pretty sure a lot of drivers would be, moaning about how difficult this track would be to drive with this car. But, it's a fairly chilly track here tonight, so I'm pretty sure it won't be as bad as it could be. But as long as everyone can keep their car straight and going, they should be able to, put on a good show tonight.
Tanner Sharpe has one of my favorite paint schemes on this car. I remember back when Dale Jr. ran, I think it was, what year was it, 2008 or 9, he ran the Darrell Waltrip throwback on his car, that number 88 with the Mountain Dew scheme on it. Looked really, really good. And Tanner Sharpe will take that across the line for his first qualifying lap of the night, 29.960. That will be good enough for 7th place. More drivers out on the racetrack right now. Nick Boyd in the 74 Blockbuster video car. That's actually quite time appropriate now as he comes across the line, 29.869. That will be good enough for 5th place. So a good run there for the 74. Matt Greuenberg is also out on track and unsure if he's actually going to qualify for this one here as he pulls down onto the apron. But always watch out for this team, whether it's Greuenberg, Fischer, or any one of the other guys. They're so good and they seem to work together really nicely.
Yeah, James Miller has really come to life in these past few races. I'm pretty sure he's won 3 of the last however many it was. But he's definitely won a lot of races, and he's come to life this season. You know, we saw him contending in seasons prior, you know, with a bunch of, probably stricter competition, and he's certainly come to life with this 87 car.
Yeah, after last week at Iowa, James Miller leads the points by 13. He has 5 race wins. That's more than twice as much as the next most person. That would be Gruenberg in second. Then DREW EISENMAN is 38 points back from the leader. So with his second place run in qualifying, that would be a good place to start. Looks like EISENMAN right now will be on the outside of the number 17 of Cameron Rich. Matt Gruenberg, again, looks like he is just hanging out on the pit lane for the time being as we prepare to end qualifying. Interestingly, again, about half the field did not qualify. Why do they keep doing this, Liam? I think you want to be up front tonight.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of drivers would, you know, you'd assume some drivers want to stay at the back, but when everyone wants to stay at the back, you know, you'll find yourself mid-pack if you're, however your I rating is sorted. Maybe if you have a low I rating, you'd be fine not qualifying, but if you have, a 5K or 4K, it wouldn't be really ideal to not qualify because you'd still be starting 15th or 16th.
Well, qualifying is, for the most part, complete. No one else is going to take times here for the time being. We'll bring you your starting lineup and your keys to the race here in just a minute once we get down to the racetrack and grid them up and get ready to go racing. We talked about weather, we talked about the field size, but this racetrack is known for one thing, and that is the Darlington stripe, Liam. How do you keep your car off the fence and out of the wall tonight? Because I always say that if you can stay off the wall once and you can make it towards the end of the race without hitting it, you'll be okay. As soon as you touch it, it's game over, and you're going to start running into a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, it's pretty much not teaching yourself bad habits and keeping yourself off the wall. If you can, if you hit the wall, you want to never hit it again. So you just want to, settle down and just keep yourself going so you can get to the end of the race. But it's certainly a challenge for these drivers to try to stay off the wall. But I think it's more of a mental game to try to keep your car all clean.
So 183 laps here tonight. This is going to be a long one. Why do I say that? Because we're running for about an hour and 30 start to finish. That's a really long race, even by our longer series standards. So this is going to be a marathon to some extent, and that's actually one of our keys to the races here. In just a moment, we'll take you down there to show you as we prepare 26 drivers to go racing from Darlington. Sorry to cut you off there, Liam. I just had to restart audio. There's ATVO not cooperating right now, as it hasn't very much lately. Been working on some upgrades here and there, and they seem to have broken more than they've fixed in recent weeks. So we'll try this one more time before we get rolling. But Liam, I cut you off there. What were you saying before I interrupted you?
Oh, I was saying that this is a fairly decent-sized field for this race. We've seen bigger fields, but for this race, I mean, we've seen smaller fields, and this is actually a pretty decent turnout for this race.
All right, there is what we were looking for. We've got everything up here on the screen now that we would like to take you down to show you the starting lineup here. So let's roll through that here in just a moment after we show you the keys to the race. And let's start off with, well, one of the things we talked about a little bit earlier was tire management, Liam, and making the tires last for the entire race. That's going to be a big challenge here tonight for sure.
Yeah, it's all about, not abusing that right front tire. If you abuse that right front tire, it just makes it more and more possible for you to slam the wall going into 1 or going into 3. So as long as you can keep the strain off the right front, you should be A-okay to try to take on some of these competitors.
And keeping it off the fence. The stripe, another big issue to worry about this evening. We talked about it briefly. Keep the car off the wall, and you might make it to the end of the race without a scratch on your car. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad night. As we roll onto the back straightaway here, one more look at our weather information before we turn them loose. We'll briefly show you the starting lineup as well. As it rolls across the bottom of your screen, up front, Cameron Rich, DREW EISENMAN, 1777, 2 of the Fords sharing that front row. Then row number 2, RAYCE CLARK, Chuck Sweeting, James Miller, Nick Boyd behind them in the 09. And James Miller's got a nice looking paint scheme on his car this evening as well. And Nick Boyd will line up on his outside. Behind them, 7th and 8th, Tanner Sharpe and Jordan McEvoy. And row number 5 will be Justin Kolb and Skylar Nissel. The field rolls out of turn number 4. Time to go racing from the lady in black, the track too tough to tame. It's Darlington. Green flag flies, and we're racing into the nighttime at the trickiest track in racing.
Big wheel spin for that 09 car off the top side there. He kept it straight, but that was a big hairy moment on that restart. So he'll try to take it to the inside here. Going to be really close. Chuck Sweeting really close to the wall. Actually, he smacks it a little bit. James Miller going to take advantage.
James Miller is through into 4th place. A little bit there on entry. Chuck Sweeting goes up the racetrack. Behind him, the 74. Nick Boyd trapped up against the wall. That is underneath him, the 52 of Justin Kolb. Lap 1 complete. Cameron Rich, the first one across the line.
Everyone's singling themselves out here, trying to settle in, not do anything too crazy right now. The 17 is going to try to pull away from the 22 of Race Clark. He's also been a guy that's really come to life this season. I believe he won one of the races this season. So Race Clark really showing that he's a force to be reckoned with.
For sure, and he's going to run up right to the rear bumper of that top driver. Behind them, Nick Boyd is under attack from Jordan McEvoy's number 21 for the race lead. Race Clark is alongside, side by side, and this time he'll come across the line and lead his first lap of the night.
Yeah, and if you're a racer, going to try to get as big of a gap on that 17 as possible without having to abuse that right front tire. Just want to keep your tires in check and want to pull as big of a gap as you can on that 17 car.
And down into corner again. Cameron Rich now feeling pressure from James Miller in the 09 car. Miller in a Chevrolet, the 2 Fords leading right now, really tight as they come off the corner onto turn number 4.
Yeah, you can see James Miller all over the back bumper of that 17. I'm not sure if he'll take it inside here. He'll think better of it. He'll just settle in behind him, maybe try to take a tighter line. Oh, got really close to the wall there, but he's going to try to take a wider arc off the corner, try to get a run set up for the backswitch.
Off into turn 3, chucks it in there. The 17 slides up the racetrack just a little bit. Miller is through to 2nd. Eisenman is 4th as there's a caution out in the background. Alex Boyd turned around at the exit. I believe that's turn number 2, and yes, it is.
There's another car involved. I wasn't able to catch a number there.
Michael
Goodman, it was a purple car.
Yes, it looks like it might be. Let's go back and have a look. The 5, or Sam Close is going to go by Alex Boyd in the number 10. Going to hit the wall, and the 44 gets collected, and they're both going to slam the wall. That was a big hit for both those cars.
Yeah, and if you're the 44, you hate to see that. I mean, you have really nowhere to go. You just momentum on the racetrack, you can't really do anything with it, especially with this loose race car. You can't really point it down in time. So unfortunate end for the 44. That's almost certainly going to be race over for him.
Well, really early in the race and already takers onto pit lane. Cameron Rich going to be the first driver down. Do you like this idea or not like this idea? I'm just concerned that that taking tires at this stage in the race shows me that the tire wear might be a lot more than we were expecting.
There's only 4 laps, so I was thinking, you know, why not stay out? I mean, if you're James Miller, Race Clark, you know, you guys, they're staying out there. I mean, I don't really see the point in pitting, especially when you're, I'm not sure if there's a tire set allotment, but you're just going to be using up a set already.
So drivers onto pit lane. Looks like a couple will stay out. Tanner Sharpe is one of the drivers that has elected to remain on the racetrack, and he started this race in 7th, and the consistency has been a problem for him in recent seasons, but here he is jumping up inside the top 5. I like this call. I like the track position call early. I think, you know, the tire strategy is going to play out later. I would rather have track position now. If I get swarmed by those newer tires, that's fine. You still got 175 plus laps to figure things out again. So I like the idea of the short-term gain right now just to see how it works for later. This is experimentation by Tanner Sharpe, and I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I mean, you also have, you know, if there is a tire set, tire set allotment, you'll be able to have that extra set later for the race, so you can be able to have that to your advantage on your, competition. If there's a late race restart, you can go and get those tires and try to blow by the field.
We'll come back to the restart here in just a moment. Hang tight. All right, back live from Darlington, doubled up and about ready to go racing again. And and just trying to chase some demons on the technical side. Not something I've really typically ever had a whole lot of problems with in the long term, but it's like chasing your tail in this industry here, Liam. You got things constantly changing, and we got kind of left behind a little bit with some adjustments to the timing and scoring and overlay software, and just trying to chase down those bugs. This is a slightly adjusted version, hoping that some of those things would be fixed, and while some of them are, some are not. So we'll have to chase those down. So RAYCE CLARK is the race leader. He is on the inside of the front row in that black U-Tool car. The 09 Miller will restart alongside him in second. Then Tanner Sharp, Chuck Sweeting, double file restarts ever since our races a few weeks ago. And green flag going to be back in the air once again. Lap number 8.
Oh, big stack up at the back of the pack there, that yellow car. I'm not sure who that was. He really just didn't go on that restart. I'm not sure if there's any contact with him, but...
Ooh, trouble behind him. Car's in the wall, and I think we've survived it, but the car we were looking at was Nick Miller's number 9. As you see in front of him, DREW EISENMAN. He's the first driver on new tires, and he's already gained a couple spots through some of the drivers that stayed out on the racetrack.
Well, yeah, if you're all these drivers, you already have a heat cycle on those tires, so... DREW EISENMAN has that advantage of having fresh rubber and, fresh, not a whole heat cycle on him. So DREW EISENMAN's going to take it to the inside here, this 89 car. Not going to be able to make it stick, though.
And working over the 20 of Brady Smith, going to tuck up underneath him on the exit of the corner. Now down the back straightaway, he has a significant run for that top spot, or the 7th place spot, excuse me. He'll go for it, and for the top spot, the 09 Miller is having a look here for the race lead away from RAYCE CLARK in the 22.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by this at all. If I'm RAYCE CLARK, though, I'm trying to keep him behind you. Try to make him use up his tires as much as he can and just try to settle down and keep it cool. James Miller, obviously a really intimidating driver to race with. He's really hard to beat, so if you want to stay in front of him, you want to keep him behind you as long as you can.
And Miller, again, with 5 wins on the season, he certainly has a handle on these cars. But some drivers that have not gotten wins yet this season lined up behind him. The 3 of Tanner Sharp, the 26 of Chuck Sweeting. I believe he did get a... No, he does not. He was really close to getting a win a couple weeks ago. Justin Colbin behind would love to go to victory lane, as would Jordan MCEVOY. But it's hungry top 5 all under a blanket here as they exit the corner.
Yeah, Chuck Sweeting, one of those drivers that has pretty much been quick in every car that 308 has run, and he just hasn't been able to get that win. Win would be huge for him tonight, though, as he's getting attacked from that number 21 car, I believe. No, that is the 52 car of Justin Kolb.
Yeah, hard to tell with all the new liveries on these cars, all the new paint. I keep calling them liveries. All the oval people are probably yelling at me. Paint schemes on these cars. They're changed up a lot tonight, so they're hard to tell from these straight-on angles who's in what. But Sweeting right now trying to work over the back of that 3 car. Miller hanging it out sideways as they head down the backstretch.
Yeah, and that's exactly what RAYCE CLARK wants to see. He wants to see him abuse those rear tires a little bit, but Race really sideways into the corner. He's really sideways center, too. He's going to try to keep those rears planted so he doesn't use those tires up. You can use up that right front, but you don't want to use those rears.
And it's a long race, so what's the urgency really? Is there an urgency, do you think, at lap 13? Why go out of the way to go get this top spot away? Why not sit behind RAYCE CLARK for a little while? I mean, we've got 70 laps to go, so maybe if I'm James Miller, I just hang out for a little while.
Well, one driver that has to have somewhat of a sense of urgency is MATT GRUENBERG. He's running 24th. He's the last guy on the lead lap, or he just passed, I believe that is Alex Boyd in that 10 car. But MATT GRUENBERG, he's fallen back to 23rd. And he hasn't gone forward except for, passing that damaged car there. So MATT GRUENBERG, he has a bunch of cars to pass here and a lot of ground to make up on him.
We can see the damage that he has on his right front fender, so I wonder if he found himself in the wall. He did take 2 trips to pit lane, but he has not really made up a lot of ground since then. So you see the 2 winner stickers above the rear quarter window. He has won twice this season, sits second in the points standings, but with his teammate being so good, I don't think he can afford to have a bad run like this. So he's got a lot of time left to make up for it, but certainly there's a bit of urgency. DREW EISENMAN, though, to 6th. He is the highest and the biggest mover of the drivers that took tires on that last pit stop.
Yeah, DREW EISENMAN, he's been one of those guys that's also been really quick. I mean, if James Miller was absent, we would be talking about his 2 or 3 wins this season on the rest of the field. He's obviously a really great road course racer, and he's really showing that that can sort of translate to oval stuff. with your tire conservation and how early you want to push or how early you want to or how late you want to push. So it's really showing that DREW EISENMAN can keep himself disciplined with his driving style.
Yeah, I really think that you bring in the road course analogy. I really do think that that helps in this car specifically. You have to manhandle this thing around, but you also have to know how to shift properly for the restarts. There's a lot of road racing skill that comes into driving a car in a slide like this as Miller gets in the wall on the front straightaway with pressure behind. That's not a mistake you want to repeat.
Yeah, and that's all you want to see if you're RAYCE CLARK. That's exactly what you've been trying to get him to do, is make a mistake so you can somewhat pull away a little bit. But now James Miller is going to try to be a little bit more aggressive with that 22 car. He's going to try to chase him down and make up for that lost time.
They're just throwing the car off into the corner. That cannot be helping the tire life for the 09, but Justin Kolb back has dropped off. That'd be DREW EISENMAN in 6th, but he is coming, and EISENMAN last time by was a little bit faster than everybody in front of him here. 30.785 to the leaders, 31.095. So he is certainly coming with a vengeance here to come back up to the front.
Well, it's one thing to run down this pack of cars, but it's a whole other thing to pass.
Oh, look, second place car's in the fence. Miller's in the wall. He's going to go scrambling as the 3 dives to the apron, and he's through to the top spot. And Tanner Sharpe goes the lead. The 22 and 26 make contact, and Sweeting goes through to second.
Yeah, it was too early of a move for James Miller. He went too gutsy into that corner, and he just ran out of real estate on exit.
That got a little bit wild and a little bit physical. It's so early in the race to be leaning on each other like that, and certainly you need to make friends with somebody out here on the racetrack because the track is certainly going to be your enemy tonight.
Yeah, you never know when you'll need that help later on in the season, but James Miller, he's fallen back all the way to 6th now as DREW EISENMAN looks to the inside. He has his fresh tires and no damage on that race car, but yeah, James Miller in the wall again. The 52 car also in the wall. James Miller going to the apron to try to keep that lost time to keep the 77 behind them. But man, it's been a tough go for James Miller in this run.
Yeah, like I said earlier, once you hit the wall once, you hit it a bunch more times, and that's, I think, why Matt Gruenberg wanted to fix every little bit of damage that he had in hopes that it would keep him out of the wall again, because every time you hit it, you just increase that damage to the point where it becomes impossible to turn. You get chronic understeer built into the car, and then your night's pretty much over from that point. RAYCE CLARK has his hands full of Chuck Sweeting right now as Tanner Sharpe begins to grow that lead. It's looking a little bit sizable now compared to where it was a few laps ago.
And what a run for Tanner Sharpe. I believe he'd be chasing his first points win of the season. I believe he won the clash or the shootout or whatever 3-1 calls it here, but he's been pulling away and he's showing that he can take it to these guys. Not one of the guys that contends for wins on a weekly basis, but when he's really good at a track, he can really show his strength as he is now.
EISENMAN all the way up against that white line. The interesting thing about this racetrack is everything to what you see here on the screen. To the right of that white line, that's actually where the racetrack is. The racetrack was originally built with everything above that dotted white line considered to be runoff area. The drivers very quickly learned that you could use that higher banked runoff area as racetrack, and they found out how to be fast around here at Darlington. That's why it's so narrow, not because it was designed that way, because that was supposed to be the runoff space, and they've used it, and now they've abused it here at Darlington.
And oh wow, the 26 really ripping the lip on the top side. He almost slapped the wall, but he didn't. It was probably the closest you can get without iRacing registering a contact. So Chuck Sweeting really getting all over the back bump of this 22 car. He really wants to get by him to get by it, or to get to the 3 car.
Ripping the lip, is that a dirt racing term? I like that a lot.
I just thought of, I guess I just thought of it from when Noah Gregson was talking about his Bristol, or how you run the top there. There's a little bit of a seam.
Yeah, ripping the lip. As they come out of turn number 4, Tanner Sharpe's lead is still holding steady about half a second. Then it's RAYCE CLARK, Chuck Sweeting, Justin Kolb, James Miller. The battle is for second place right now, 24 laps into Darlington. Sweeting leaning on the back bumper of that 22 almost as they sweep through the second corner. Sweeting, or the 52 rather, Justin Kolb hunting below that white line to find any semblance of grip.
And Justin Kolb, he's really been struggling here, keeping the 09 behind him. But if you can try to keep that aggression, that 22 car, as the 09 slams the wall behind him. And James Miller is definitely not having a good run throughout this. And DREW EISENMAN's probably even more frustrated because he can't get by that struggling 09.
And passing becomes a challenge here. It's already challenging enough with how hard these cars are to drive in it anyway. The 52 had to look at the 26, couldn't get it done. Now faces the 09 down the back straight away, and Miller cannot go anywhere.
And great job by that 26 car to not even be phased by that 52 car going to the inside. And Chuck Sweeting's really dragging it up almost higher than anyone else's. So I think that's really where he's taking that defensive line and able to drive away from these guys every time they try to make a pass.
The rest of the field has found a little bit of room to race, save for Jonathan Cogswell on back. There is the 17 at Cameron Rich. Behind them, Richard Hines and Jeremiah Llewellyn, as well as Matt Grunberg, starting to make his way through the field up to 19th place, but the progress has been slow. It's been a slog tonight for the 54, and still a lot of progress left to make up, but he's picking them up and laying them down one at a time.
Well, while it's a long race without a caution, I don't think he can make up 16 seconds on a charging 3-car of Tanner Sharpe as Chuck Sweeting just gets by Race Clark there.
Whoa.
Big bottle up there. Everybody in the wall behind him. And the 77 still can't get by these guys. James Miller using the bumper on the 52 car.
Yeah, I wonder how long that's going to last. These guys are obviously not thrilled with each other, leaning into each other 30 laps into an 180-lap race. But Justin Kolb and Eisenman now left battling for scraps at the tail end of the top 5. Miller's back through to 4th. But Tanner Sharpe is the one that has benefited here. He jumps out to a 1-second lead. And Tanner Sharpe this season, if we have a look at his results, it has been a season to forget so far. 19th in the points, 150 back from the leader, tied with Donovan Smith. It has just not been what Tanner Sharpe is capable of this time around.
Yeah, Tanner Sharpe. It took a while for him to get a hand on these 87 cars. They're definitely a big adjustment from what they've been running with the ARCA cars and the most recently, or not most recently, but the Cup cars prior to that. It's definitely a huge transition as Justin Kolb slams the wall on the front stretch. You're starting to see that little bit of a wobble on the straightaways with these cars. That's usually a characteristic of a car that's way too loose for them to drive, or someone that hasn't taken care of those rear tires.
Wow, they're just
James
flirting
Miller
with it on the back straightaway. And here comes Miller up the inside of Race Clark, who will not contest the position. And Miller will go through to 3rd. He's still fast, regardless of the damage that he's put on that car. He actually outpaced the leader last time by, so he's beaten the right side off it, but it's still running competitive time.
Yeah, I was actually surprised he wasn't going to slam the wall there. I was bracing for a wreck or a caution or something, but man.
Someone else pounded it. Was that the 52 that got into it? I heard someone completely, it sounded like a bomb went off in the first couple corners as someone got into the safer barrier.
Yeah, it looked like Justin Kolb, had the challenge from behind him, and he just couldn't keep it off the wall there. So he has a little bit of a challenge on his front to try to keep that race car, not damaged more than it is, as that right front is certainly seen better days.
And here's Matt Grunberg going by Corey Lindsay. Love that livery, or the paint scheme. I'm trying to train myself not to say that word tonight. As the 54 goes on through, kind of a Jeff Burton era 00, looks like.
Yeah, it looks like the 31 car that he ran a few years back. But definitely a good-looking race car, and it translates well to this car.
And Corey Lindsay having a pretty decent run so far, 23rd to 16th. As Grunberg still on his recovery drive. Brady Smith has gone backwards on this run. He is one of the drivers that did not come down to pit lane earlier. As you see Alex Boyd come back out, he's 1 lap down. But again, I think the tires, from what we've seen, they have not really paid off for Drew Eisenman. And this is not unexpected, I don't think. I mean, you pit 4 laps in. I don't know what you'd be expecting other than a marginal difference, and it seems to be quite marginal for the 77 car.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't really see much of a gain to be made there, except maybe if everyone spins the tires, you won't spin them. But Drew Eisenman, his tire call really isn't benefiting him right now, and he has a whole less set than everyone else now.
33 laps into this 183-lap race, Tanner Sharpe is leading, but the quickest driver on the racetrack is James Miller in 3rd. I don't know how he's doing this, but he's made this car last, and he continues to try to climb up forward and get to 2nd place Chuck Sweeting.
Yeah, he's been really aggressive early in this race, and I just hope that he keeps the car under him. We saw him go really sideways in 3 and 4 when he slammed the wall, multiple times, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if it happens again. It's just about getting in a rhythm and, picking him off one by one.
Onto the back straightaway, you see the hands working in that car as he struggles to keep it under control. Here's Eisenman going by Race Clark for 4th. And that will put Eisenman back up solidly inside the top 5. No other major battles anywhere else throughout the field except for up at the front. It's a 3-horse race now as they come across the line. Sharpe, Sweeting, Miller, and all about a 1/10 and a half apart from each other.
Yeah, and one thing I'm starting to see is passes are a lot easier to be made here once the tires wear, and you could see people, sending it in on the inside, and usually almost always being able to clear the car in front of him. So as Chuck Sweeting gets up to the back bumper of the three, I'm pretty sure this is the closest he's been all race, drives it in really well. He's going to try to get the good exit by running a wider arc, and not going to be enough to get to his outside on the front stretch. Actually will be. Tanner Sharp's going to let him go.
Yeah, I think that might have been a smart move. He's playing the long game here. Don't let these guys go out there and fight it. And Chuck Sweeting, he's certainly out here to go for it. And Miller ready to party as well at the front of the field here. As we have to start thinking about our first pit stop, our first green flag pit stop potentially for the drivers who did not pit earlier in this race.
Yeah, if you're Drew Eisenman, you have a few extra laps on your tank of fuel to maybe catch a caution or something. But a little bit of a problem up ahead. I'm not sure who that is. Tide car.
That is looks like it's not the 17. Who is that? Corey Shellman. Corey Shellman running the number 12. And this is a name that is new to the series as he works right over in front of the leaders, and they're going to split him 3 wide. And he's swerving all over the place, trying to find a way to get out of the way, but they somehow made that work. Well, that was not pretty, Liam, but it got it done.
Well, he zigged and he zagged, so, I mean, he tried to get below, and he just couldn't do it. And Chuck Sweeting probably not too happy with his decision-making there, but James Miller going to take advantage, going to go to the inside here, going to send it in really deep. Actually, wow, that's really low. He's going to get on the binders here. Chuck Sweeting doesn't have a run yet, and he's not going to get one, but he's going to try to dive it in here. Not much of a run, and Chuck Sweeting is going to lose the lead to James Miller at lap 38.
He certainly gave it a good shot off down into turn number 1 and got on through. Moving back a little bit, Justin Kolb, Jordan McEvoy. This is for 6th place now. McEvoy doesn't have a scratch on this car, and I like that strategy. Keep it preserved until the end. That right side is a non-renewable resource this evening, and McEvoy has yet to tap into those resources.
Yeah, he's been doing a really good job keeping that car clean, as the 52 car has definitely done the contrary. So the 21 car keeping it clean, and maybe he can get a spot on this 52 car from him getting even more and more tight. As he slams the wall, he's going to let him go, and the 21 move him into 6th place.
That was a little dicey as the 52 found himself in the wall just a little bit on the back straightaway. And going back up to the front, Chuck Sweeting is staying right with James Miller, but gap is slowly increasing. Now Sam Close and Justin Kolb trading spots for 7th. The 52 seems like he's struggling a little bit, trying to get back on the apron to get back by, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I thought, oh wow, I thought he was going to slam the wall there with how really shallow that exit was. That was a little sketchy there, but the 5 is Sam Close. He's been putting down some nice laps, and compared to the guys in front of him. I believe he's running as quick as up to 5th place, so if you can get up to 5th place, it'd be a solid run for him.
Well, it is a beautiful night for racing here at Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina for the 3 Wide Racing League Cold Hard Art Cup Series. You're watching Sim TV, and we've got a lot of new fun stuff coming up this week. Series that are returning this week on Wednesday include the Washington, D.C. region SCCA iRacing League. They will be taking on Circuit of the Americas on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. It'll be myself, Kyle Heyer, alongside a 4-time IMSA winner and TCA TCB champion and World Challenge driver Tom O'Gorman. He'll be in the booth with me to watch some GT4 and TCR multi-class action, so make sure you don't miss that. That'll be right here on Sim TV and on the DC Region SCCA Facebook page. And then we'll have, of course, Scars Ferrari Challenge returning. They'll be heading to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park on Thursday. Friday is off. Saturday will be both Formula I and the Outsider Racing League. So keep yourself tuned in to watch Silverstone and Kentucky in a 2-race-a-day afternoon for Sim TV. Out on the racetrack right now, though, the Cold Hard Art Cup Series continues. About an hour and 12 minutes of racing remaining, and James Miller has been the dominant force so far. Maybe not in laps led, but certainly in pace here, Liam.
Well, yeah, you can see the big parity in this field as James Miller smacks the wall. That's actually really heavy right front damage. You can see under the hood of that car, but you can see the parity in the field. You see, 4th is, within 2.5 seconds, and then all the way back, it's 3 times that gap from 1st to 3rd to 6 seconds, almost 7. So you can see this huge gap. Matt Gruenberg, 19 seconds back, almost 20. So it really shows the dominance that these top 4 have on the field.
Yeah, we talked about Gruenberg earlier. He had some slight damage. He still has some slight damage to that car. He's been pretty patient working his way back through the field, and he has worked his way up as high as he has been so far tonight, 13th place. And while his progress has been slow, he's right on pace with everybody else. I don't think he's too far off as he goes now. But whoa, they touched it. No, the 89 of Miller gets into him, and Miller goes sailing down the racetrack into turn number 3. And that's more damage for the 54 to contend with now as Miller tries to get out of the way.
He does a great job keeping it off the racetrack, or off the off the racing groove there. That could have been way worse than what it was, but the 89 is really struggling hanging onto his race car here. As you see, Matt Gruenberg goes to the inside here, and yeah, it looks like he just got loose on the straightaway. I mean, that's just
I mean, these
that's just a
cars
result.
have such soft suspensions, Liam, that they have quite a bit of play when you drive them down the straightaway. They don't want to go straight. They're kind of hooking and looping and diving and bobbing everywhere. And especially when you have to look up in your mirror, you get spooked, you jerk that wheel just a little bit, that car will lean over on itself and just dart over to one side or the other. And we've seen that happen a couple times tonight. Think back with COREY SHELMAN trying to get out of the way of the race leaders. It's challenging even to go in a straight line here, but that's what I love so much about these cars.
Yeah, one thing these cars can do that I'm pretty sure no other car on iRacing can do is weight shift and blow over. So these things, if you hook them right hard enough, you can, see yourself flipping 3 or 4 times down the straightaway. So James Miller with a dominating lead right now, 2 seconds on Chuck Sweeting. What a performance by him tonight.
Tanner Sharpe letting by DREW EISENMAN as EISENMAN will go up to 3rd. And remember, he is one of the drivers that took tires on that first pit stop, dropped all the way down to about, 10th spot or so, and has slowly climbed his way forward. His lap times are about equalized or just off of James Miller as he goes to the outside of BRADY SMITH in the number 20, who's now gone a lap down. EISENMAN, I think maybe this is a better long-term play, but they're all going to have to hit pit lane here shortly, so I'm not really sure how much it helped them in the end.
Oh, big moment with those 3 cars behind him. Tanner Sharpe got caught behind those 2 cars, the one with Donovan Smith and I believe that's a 20. So he got caught behind those 2 cars, and they had a big moment down the straightaway, and Tanner had to back out. So kudos to him to not forcing the issue there between those 2 cars. They have their own race, and he's going to move on to a race another day.
Skylar Nissel in the number 11. Ooh, he's in the fence. So is Jonathan Cogswell, and Nissel's going to slide down the racetrack out of turn number 4. He'll get back up on top. But this is one of those situations, Liam, where if you follow someone too closely into a corner, you're going to end up making their mistake along with whatever one you were about to. So this is especially a race where you cannot have target fixation, where you cannot focus on anybody other than your own self when you're driving around this track.
Yeah, you got to focus on your own car, and if you follow someone into the wall, they can spin out and they'll just have nowhere to go.
Caution.
Into the wall. Caution's out.
And it's Mike Stevens on the back straightaway. Turned around backwards. And this is a very opportune time for drivers that needed to come hit pit lane.
Matt Gruenberg, big savior for him. He was 21 seconds back from the leaders, and he'll be right back in it now as well. Man, that was was quick, but
here's a look.
We're going to see what happened here. It looks like he just looped it around on his own.
Yeah, might have just gotten in the right there. Going to get the wall at the exit of turn 2, and a couple drivers diving for safety, but kind of pirouetting all on his own. That actually was the race leader, James Miller, going on by. But a minor issue, bringing out our second caution of the night. Already seeing a couple drivers bailing out of this race. Alex Boyd, Michael Goodman, and Dustin Dew are all retired and done for the day. I imagine Mike Stevens will join that club here shortly. And we are starting to lose drivers here and there as everybody this time will come hit pit lane.
Yeah, the 09's going to lead them all down. And if anyone stays out, that's pretty whack. But all these guys are going to stay out, take their wave rounds maybe and try to gamble. But yeah, oh wow, 4 cars. That really shows the breakaway they had from the rest of the field as the 5th place car just comes into the frame, then 6th, 7th, and 8th, just getting by those pit road lights. So wow, what a yeah, I don't know what the term to use for it, but what a performance by those top 4.
Yeah, you're right. You mentioned the parity, and there's parity between most of the field except for that top 4 and 5. They've really broken away from the rest of the field. And as it stands right now, I think you could kind of roll your dice around any of those winners, and they would certainly be the ones to watch. We're going to take a very quick break. We'll be right back for the restart. Hang tight for just a moment.
Back live for the second caution of the night here at Darlington Raceway for the 3 Wide Racing League Cold Hard Art Cup Series, where you're watching from the Lady in Black, the track Too Tough to Tame, and James Miller is the current leader, the driver out front right now. Tanner Sharpe in second, then DREW EISENMAN in third, RAYCE CLARK in fourth. Pit stops have already happened. Mike Stevens will get back out on the racetrack. He is a lap down, but still trying to get that car fixed up, as is COREY SHELMAN in the number 12. But Liam, it has been a troublesome race so far for a couple drivers towards the rear of the field, but for the 4 or 5 out front, it's been smooth sailing so far.
Well, I wouldn't say smooth. There's been a little bit of bumps in the road for the 09 cars. You see all that right front damage, and he was still able to take the lead from those cars that he was racing with, the 20, the 26, the 22. He was able to blow right by him, as James Miller is going to take the top side here. Actually, no, that's just how the restarts work. But James Miller is going to be on the top side here, so no one could get by him. But James Miller, he's been the guy that's probably been the car to beat in every race this season. We came into this season thinking it was going to be Matt Gruenberg to be the guy to beat, and it's been his teammate. He has been dominating every race.
Yeah, Matt Gruenberg is always the driver to beat, but you're right. James Miller has been the one this season that has been constantly at the top of the board. And I'd say RAYCE CLARK has had a pretty good performance as well. Looking at the point standings this season, RAYCE CLARK is in 5th. Of course, Jeffrey Fischer cannot be ignored. Neither can Justin Colbert, Jordan McEvoy. Nick Boyd up in 8th in the points. He's having a fairly good time around here as well. All right, as we come out of turn number 4, this will be our second restart of the night as we come out of the final corner here at Darlington. On the outside, James Miller is the race leader. Green flag back in the air from the Lady in Black.
What a great restart, though. That was by the 09 car. He's going to pull away by maybe 5, 6, 7 car lengths on that number 3 car. So James Miller with a great restart. Big crash in the background.
Cameron Rich is also around, and looks like the green flag still in the air. We have not gotten a caution flag yet. As we continue to roll.
I don't think we're going to get one.
No, let's have a quick look here at what happened. As we came off into turn number 1. I'm not exactly sure where this all started. Let's look from high above. The 87 to Hines. Oh, Matt Gruenberg was involved. Oh, he got up on his side. And Gruenberg got probably the worst of that. So did the 87. The 17 got a piece of it. But for the second place driver, the points, Matt Gruenberg, he's got big problems here as we continue to roll green from Darlington.
And who knows how terminal that damage may be. I mean, it may have hurt that suspension really badly. So the 54 we were with, we thought it was an opportunity for him to get back up through the field, but he lost all that ground immediately. So terrible start for Matt Gruenberg there. And not of his doing, just a victim of a checkup.
Tanner Sharpe trying to run down James Miller at the front of the field right now. He's got pace, at least he had it earlier in the race. I'm just wondering if he can get up there and pass James Miller. It's going to be so hard to wrestle a win away from Miller, from here or anywhere else for the rest of the season. I just think that this guy has it figured out, but Tanner Sharpe's giving him a run for his money down the front straight.
Yeah, I think this 3 car is better on the short runs, but that 09 can really get it done in the long runs, despite how many times he can hit the wall. He can really just drive away from everybody else, but in the short runs, that 3 and the 22 and the 26 are really good, way better than the 09, I would say. But, if James Miller can just keep him behind him, he can just drive away by probably, I would say, maybe a whole lap if he gets enough time.
Working our way towards the 1/3 mark of this race, about an hour and 15 minutes left to go in this one, and Tanner Sharpe is putting the pressure on James Miller. As Miller hunts for the outside wall, and that's like a safety net here, Liam. The higher up you run, the more speed you're going to carry, but that tells me if Miller's running that close to the wall where the danger zone is, I think he's feeling that pressure from the 3 car.
Yeah, and you see him running really high. He's taking that wide arc, in the middle of 3 and 4, he gets up to the highest point in the wall, and then he's going to drive it right back down. So I like that arc, but I don't really think it's really good for this short run here, because you can just put yourself in a bad spot. You don't want to beat yourself on this racetrack, especially with how close those walls get off the corner.
So the battle for the lead has fizzled slightly for now. We'll jump a little bit deeper in the field to find Matt Gruenberg. How damaged is this car? Will he be able to get a decent result out of it? If we know one thing about Matt Gruenberg, he does not give up. And even with every corner of that car looking slightly deranged, he will fight this to the bitter end as Justin Kolb goes by for 13th. This is going to be a long night for him, though.
Yeah, and you know, you can get by with right front damage, as unpleasant as it may be to drive. You can get by with it, but having right front and left front damage is way worse than just having right front damage. So Matt Greenberg struggling with handling issues right now as his teammate goes by him.
Yeah, that's actually Jeffrey Fischer in 21st place. He's actually a lap down. I don't exactly know how he found out how to get there, but he is a lap down, and that was not a pass 4 position, and he's not even close to the free pass position. He's got to drive way up the road to find Brady Smith, as he is currently the first driver 1 lap down.
Yes, to get by 3 cars for positions to even get by that 20 car. Think about it. So Brady Smith did a good job with taking advantage of that restart there with that big stack up. He'll be able to keep that spot.
Tanner Sharpe trying to work over the back of James Miller on the front straightaway. Lap number 63 of 183. As we head off into turn number 1, 120 to go.
Man, it really shows how much of a marathon this is. I mean, it feels like we've been here forever. As the 98 has gone around, he keeps it straight. No caution's going to come out. He's going to get it back rolling and get back up to speed, but that's pretty much going to take him out of contention for the free pass spot as the lap car's coming up quickly.
Yeah, I think the free pass sort of out of the question for Fischer for now. Tanner Sharpe, though, putting the pressure on for the lead. Here he comes now down the front straightaway, and he's eyeing some Tim Hortons here, and while it's not the morning, he certainly looks hungry as they chase each other through the first half of the racetrack.
He's doing a really great job applying the pressure to the 09. You know, he drove away a little bit, but he didn't take that as a big, problem for him. He just, let it come back to him, and here he is challenging for the lead on the 09 of James Miller.
Can't quite get there, and the battle will ensue and continue as we get about an hour left in this race. I think my estimate a little earlier was just a little bit off. So we are about a third of the way through this one, and James Miller, who was not the dominant car early, has now found the lead, but he is dealing with the green and white emerald car of the Amp Energy and Mountain Dew logos on the 3 of Tanner Sharpe, and the 09's in the wall. Tanner Sharpe's going to go by for the race lead down at turn number 3 and 4, side by side as they come across the line. The 09 in the wall again. Tanner Sharpe goes through.
Yeah, and James Miller beat himself there through those corners. He got the pressure from the 3. He drives way up to him. I thought he was going to send him around there, but that 3 of Tanner Sharpe, he was patient with that 09 car, and he finally made a mistake. He caught him back up, and here he is in the lead.
And Tanner Sharpe showing a lot of strength. We mentioned how it's been a fairly disappointing points season for him, but this could certainly turn everything around as he comes out of 4. James Miller is not going to give this up, but he's going to want it back.
Yeah, James Miller really good in the long run here, and as you see, he's taking a really shallow entry, and he's able to drag it all the way out to the wall. And that really helped with this corner exit here. You get such a run down the straightaways to that 3 car. That's not really a good example of it, but we see his corner exit's really good, but the corner entry is a little gutsy. And
he's shifting.
Hang off here. Oh wow!
James Miller is trying to shift this car to get the extra torque to come off the corner, and that could be what's led to some of his moments earlier in the race. Is every time you shift, you're kind of shocking the drivetrain, and that could explain why we've seen this car jump sideways at weird times in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, it's really strange to see that. I mean, I wouldn't think Darlington would be a track you're shifting at, but maybe the fact that he's shifting may be a whole reason why he's on such a different level compared to everybody else. No one else is probably shifting. If you look on the 3, he's not shifting at all, I don't think. And that 9 is just, or the 09 is taking it to the 3, going to go to the inside here, going to challenge it into the corner, going to take it really in deep. That's really deep, man. And he's going to be able to keep him behind and not slam the wall, but Tanner Sharpe's going to try to take it to the inside. Not going to happen.
Dare I say that was a slide job across the line now, starting, into turn 3 rather, wrong end of the racetrack, into 3. The 09 and 3 continue. They're scrap for the top spot. And I don't think Tanner Sharpe has done yet either.
Yeah, that 3 is able to stick with that 09 car, but he just has to wait for a mistake to be made on his front. So that 3 car is probably the second best car in this race. It's 4 seconds already. The next closest car is the 3 slams the wall there.
Got into the fence there just a little bit. And Miller will grow that lead out. Eisenman sits in 8th, Cogswell in 9th. And that is the other closest battle on the racetrack besides Gruenberg and Brent Miller. Now Gruenberg finds himself in 14th. this is not going to be a good day for him. It's not going to be a great day for him, but he could just keep it from being a bad day just by finishing where he is.
Yeah, 14's way better than 21st. So if he could just keep himself in this top 15, it may be, it's not ideal, but it'd be somewhat of a, it could be worse, like a type situation where, Matt Gruenberg, probably not even a contending car anymore with all that damage, but wow, he's really sideways on the straightaway, man.
Yeah, his car's crabbing. I'm sure the steering isn't very straight. Brent Miller will have a pretty good view from behind. Let's see, I think that's right in front of him. Looks to be Jeremiah Llewellyn. Watch this 54 track down the straightaway. It is crabbing hard to the right.
The 87 cars were already hard to drive enough. I mean, that's just a added challenge.
Smoke, and I think that's a car on the apron. That's Brady Smith, who was already a lap down, and that was the battle for the free pass. Donovan Smith goes by with Brady Smith's spin, and Smith, the other Smith, Donovan versus Brady. Donovan goes through into 18th, and he is now the free pass car. Cameron Rich, who we thought would be a challenger early in this one, has found himself with some damage on the front and rear of that car and running all the way back in 17th. He could really use a caution and a fresh set of Goodyears to go on this car.
Yeah, we saw him involved in that restart crash, and he went all the way to the inside wall, so he had to back it up and get going. So I'm not surprised at all that he's back here after that crash. But, unfortunate circumstances for that 17 car. He has his work cut out for him.
Now, still watching from Brent Miller's on board here. Watch this 54 again, the angle, and we'll go out of the back straightaway. Watch this 54 down the straightaway, just crabbing sideways. That cannot be handling very well, and he's still out here cooking along, trying to get whatever points he can.
You'd think that's a super speedway car with how much it's skewed on the straightaways. Man, you could see a door number on the straightaway.
Yeah, it's not too good for the 54, but hanging in there. Jordan McEvoy, Chuck Sweeting. This is for 4th place. And Jordan McEvoy has been quiet tonight, but I mentioned earlier we got a spinner.
Oh.
Trying to see what car it was. 22 of RAYCE CLARK.
Man, that's a weird place to spin. If he didn't tag the wall there, it looks like he did with all that damage. That's a matte black race car, and there's a whole lot of Darlington wall on it. So, yeah, put 2 and 2 together. RAYCE CLARK slammed the wall there in that corner. He falls back to 5th.
Going back to McEvoy, he is one driver that I have not seen put a finger wrong tonight. There is not okay, maybe there is a scratch there on the right side, a little one, but it's been, for the most part, a pretty clean and green race for that 21, and he rides in 3rd now with the mistake out of RAYCE CLARK, and I am going to pick this driver maybe not as a winning car, but certainly a top 5, maybe a top 3 vehicle tonight. Jumping back deeper, Corey Lindsay is up into 10th place. This is a great run for him, and 11th. How about Skylar Nissel jumping up here?
Yeah, great runs for these two. They've been able to take advantage of other people's misfortune, and here they are running top 10 and just outside of it. So if you can just get one more car to spin around, they can be both in the top 10 with probably season best runs for them.
RAYCE CLARK now dealing with Nick Miller in behind, another driver we haven't really talked a whole lot about tonight, as he rides in 6th.
And doesn't really have much of a car to challenge these top 4, top 3 up here, and to break into that, top 5 up ahead. But he's been able to, mire back behind them and maybe take advantage of other people's mistakes. But, he's just been riding around just like Jordan McEvoy. Is a little bit more damage compared to the 21 car, but I like the strategy, just let the race come to them, let the spots, come to them on attrition, and here he is just outside the top 5.
Cameron Rich working over, trying to move up from his 17th place spot. He's got Richard Hines out in the windshield here. He'd love to get by the 87 and start making progress up towards Matt Gruenberg. Again, Cameron Rich is not running here for points. He's really out of it. He's just running for race wins. So anything less than that is not really a fun night for him. So he's going to go through the 87 or try to into turn 3, but can't get by.
Yeah, Richard Hines is going to take the high side there. I thought the 17 was going to send it into the corner. I thought we were going to see a little bit of an accident there as they make contact off the corner. The 87 gets a little bit of wobble, and that 17 is going to have to settle in behind by a car length.
Nick Miller under attack now from Jordan McEvoy in the 21. And Sam Close is in behind in the 5 as they head down the front straightaway. They're line astern, nose to tail. Chevy to Ford. And Close watching from behind them with the 77 of Eisenman, who has been kind of hanging out here tonight. He has not really shown the pace to be a front runner the whole time, but seems to kind of charge late in the runs.
Yeah, at 77, you know, he's probably a third best car, second best car on speed. I mean, 10 seconds is a big gap to make up. As Tanner Sharpe, he hasn't actually fallen off that much from James Miller, as you know, as I was expecting. You know, compared to everybody else that he's raced against throughout this whole race, you know, Tanner Sharpe has probably been the second best car.
I certainly agree with that. So Tanner Sharpe, the second quickest of the drivers. Unfortunately, second quickest doesn't get a trophy, so he'll have to figure out something, whether it's strategy or luck. That always helps a little bit at the Lady in Black. Big moment for the Sam Close car, the 5. He had to chase that car up the hill, almost had a rear bumper intrusion from the trailing car, the 77. Jonathan Cogswell creeps inside the top 10. Here he is up for 9th.
As that 77 is going to go by on the outside, but a really good run for this 27 car. You know, he's been one of those drivers that, you know, came in a few seasons ago, and he's been slowly getting better. And, you know, top 10s, top 5s, you know, those aren't out of the question for this 27 car, Jonathan Cogswell. So, great run for him tonight.
Having a pretty good night for sure. Next time across the line, that it will be a 100 laps to go here from Darlington. James Miller has been in command the most as of late, but Tanner Sharpe certainly, I keep saying certainly, I'm noticing that, is keeping him honest. I'm trying not to work myself into bad habits here in these longer races, but James Miller in the fence, and while he has found the wall a bunch tonight, he has not given up anything in pace. So he has worn the right side off that car, Liam, but nothing that he hasn't been able to overcome so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised that he hasn't paid the price for slapping the wall that many times, especially with how these cars are with suspension.
Nick Boyd, caution.
Oh no.
Caution is out for the 74, and he will head down into turn number 3, and that will be a night over for the 74. Let's go back and have a look at exactly what happened here. Oh, man.
Big impact there. It's been a tough go for the boys tonight. Alex Boyd involved in an early incident, and similar incident for the 74 car. Man,
exactly the same. And we will come back and update you on everything here. We're going to go back out of the throwback mode. We'll be back in just a moment for the restart. Hang tight.
In the heart of Virginia, there's a stretch of pavement that has ingrained itself in American racing history. Built in 1957 with just a bulldozer and a plot of land, Virginia International Raceway has become an icon. Over the years since its reopening in 2000, it has hosted IMSA, the American Le Mans Series, NASCAR, SCCA, and Champ Car races. Legends have raced there, including Roger Penske, Mark Donohue, Richard Petty, Hurley Haywood, Dan Gurney, and more. Between turns 11 and 12 stood a defining feature, an old oak tree. This tree stood untouched, shading the south end of the course for decades. For some, oak tree became a symbol of VIR and a reminder of how road courses used to be built. They used to be built with the lay of the land, following each contour and moving around obstacles, not through them. Earth may have been moved, but not tarnished. Oak tree was a lasting memory of when tracks were not just built, they came to be, like the tree. Although Oak Tree no longer stands, nor does Hog Pen turn 17, the corners both still bear the name of what used to exist, and the track stays unchanged the way it was meant to be, with the lay of the land for the land. Maybe that's why Paul Newman called it heaven on earth.
Back live here from Darlington, the track too tough to tame. The lady in black, well, the darkness has fallen, and while the areas surrounding the racetrack have fallen into the darkness, the racetrack is bright and lit up and ready for the last, 90 or so laps of this race here tonight. It's been a long one so far, Liam, a marathon of sorts, but James Miller has been the one outlasting everyone else so far.
Yeah, just over half the race left, so everyone has to be thinking, okay, we have to do everything we just did all over again. So James Miller, he's been the guy to beat tonight, but Tanner Sharpe has certainly improved in the second run as the nighttime has come. We've seen in past Darlington races, drivers that, weren't too good during the day, really showed towards the end, like Bailey Turner in the ORL race just a few weeks ago. He wasn't really good during the daytime, but once the nighttime hit, he was able to shine, and I'm pretty sure Tanner Sharpe is certainly improving as the nighttime comes over this racetrack.
Well, I'm looking down at the back straightaway, and I don't know if you see what I see, Liam, but if we look off from the exit of turn number 2, have a look at the rubber that's formed here across the racetrack, leading to the inside wall. So that tells me if I'm a driver watching right now, I'm going to be extra careful leaving turn number 2.
Man, that really illustrates the amount of trouble that these guys have had keeping the car straight off the corner. It's really tough to do with these race cars, especially with such an unforgiving racetrack. So as the green flag's going to come out here with James Miller and Tanner Sharpe in second, it's going to be a really tough challenge for this field to conquer.
95 laps to go. Green flag back in the air. Miller, Sharpe, Clark, McEvoy, Nissel. It's a bit of a stack up behind him into turn number 1. Brent Miller in the middle of it as he gets down to the first corner alongside the 77 Eisenman. For second place, RAYCE CLARK wants back by, but Tanner Sharpe's going to deny him as they head onto the backstretch.
Great lead by the 3 car. He's going to try to chase down the 09 car. He's been really good on the short runs, better than the 09 car. He's actually taken the lead once or twice from that 09 car. He's going to try to take it away here again.
Richard Hines on the outside of Nick Miller in the number 9. Behind the 26 of Chuck Sweeting. That is where all the racing is happening right now. Miller's got a 4/10 of a second lead. Make it 3/10 of a second lead as they come across the line to complete the first lap after the restart. Hines is in the fence. The 52 is going to hunt for the apron to get out of the way. And the 87 finally gathers it up. But for the lead, here comes Tanner Sharpe to the apron. Now back up to the top of the racetrack.
Yeah, great move by the 3 car to try to mess up that 09 car's run, as the 3's going to drive it in really hard through this corner. He has less right front damage, but I think that's what's making up the difference on the short run. It will be so much better than the 09.
Cameras flashing in the grandstands as we head through the first corner once again for the 91st time. Miller, Sharpe, Clark, McEvoy, Nissel the top 5. How about Skyler jumping up in there? But Tanner Sharpe is going to go to this lead. It's just a matter of time. Miller may be a bit defensive down the backstretch, but I don't think he can hold him off for too much longer.
Yeah, if you're the 09 car, you can't make the same mistake you did earlier, but here's RAYCE CLARK driving it in hard. He's going to try to say, hey guys, I want to be in this battle too. He's going to try to make a 3-horse race for this top spot here.
Yeah, certainly not playing around off into turn 3. He chucked it down in there to try to grab a position away. Was not able to get alongside, but might have spooked Tanner Sharpe just a little bit. And a distraction tactic is all you need sometimes to make someone make a mistake. Now chasing each other down the backstretch again. Sharpe right on the bumper of the race leader, but nowhere to go yet.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to make the 09 make a big mistake like he did it earlier for him to take away the lead, to be side by side with him off the corner, but he's going to try to move him out of the way. Not going to happen.
Only a matter of time, in my opinion, before this 3-car gets by. But Miller seems to be a little bit better on the longer run. So if he can withstand the attacks in the short term and take those punches, he could lead for this entire run without having to repass the 3-car later. And I think that's the goal right now. Skyler Nissel feeling pressure from Cogswell for 5th. Will stay up front in case these two switch positions. Oh, he's in a little hot, and that's going to let Sharpe dive for the apron to try to get back by.
And man, you could see him really throw it in off the corner. The 09 really tracking it out really far with that right rear tire, but that 3 car has been all over the back bumper of this 09 car. It's just a matter of when that 09 makes a mistake where the 3 can capitalize.
Oh, he's big sideways at the exit of turn number 2. Now down the backstretch, here he comes. He took that momentum and went somewhere with it for the top spot. Sharpe into the corner alongside the 09. Side by side, Chevrolet versus Chevrolet as they come out of 4.
That was really tight mid-corner there. The 3 is really loose off the corner, but man, what a send into that corner. He probably had to send it a little lower as a car in the wall as a 77 Drew Eisenman.
Yeah, he's hit the wall really hard. That right side is torn up. That might be it, unfortunately, for Drew Eisenman out of Texas. For the top spot, though, this battle is not over yet as we approach lap number 100. Miller and Sharpe are going at it for the top spot and continue to do so into 3.
Yeah, 3 all over the back bumper. And 09's running really high, but that 3 car is really good through the center of the corner. Just can't really make it up on the exit.
Oh, trouble for Corey Lindsay. Out of turn number 4. No caution. We stay green. And from what I can tell, no major damage on this car. And unfortunately for him, he's trying to stay off the racetrack to avoid triggering the yellow. He was having such a good night. Now it looks like that's all gone away. Eisenman has hit pit lane. Miller charges into 3 to try to gain some time back on Sharpe, but Sharpe gains it all in the middle to exit, Liam, and that's where I think you want to have speed.
Yeah, if you can get that center rotation good, that 09 car is definitely going to be in big trouble. If Tanner Sharpe can just figure out how to put the whole set of corners together, he'll definitely be the guy to beat here once this race goes into the later stages. But that 3 car is not giving up in this 09 car. This is the closest he's been this long into a run, so that 3 car is learning and learning fast.
Still battling for the top spot. Sam Close, Chuck Sweeting, and Cameron Rich all going at it. There's Cameron Rich. We haven't really talked about him since the start of the race. He's slowly creeping his way back inside the top 10. And with the 54 Grunberg, by the way, he is done for the night. He'll finish unofficially 23rd place. It will be disastrous for the point standings, especially if Miller stays where he is. But that 17 car digging himself out of his hole where the 54 got himself dug in deeper. The 09 and 3 continue to combat each other at the top of the order.
3 car all over the back bumper of him, but that's a big points implication for that 54 car. He's going to have to hope that 09 car for, once in a blue moon has a bad race in this series. So big implications. I hate to channel my inner Rick Allen here, but big implications there for the 54 car.
Don't we all hate to channel our inner Rick Allen? I've done that more than once. Tanner Sharpe from the Glory Motorsport camp into turn 3. He's just not able to get the pass completed, and every time he doesn't do it, he has to waste tire to try again. But Miller's just chucking it into 3, hoping it sticks, and it has, but once those tires burn off, it's not going to stick so well.
Yeah, that 09 car has been running it, he's been running his line, he hasn't had that 3 car make as much of an impact on his driving line, as we've seen the runs past. So that 3 car has been using his tires a bit more than that 09 car has, especially in this later run here, as the 3 is still making up time off of corner 2, but he just hasn't been able to translate it into a full lap.
Skylar Nissel got in the fence. He was running up inside the top 5. He drops now down to 7th and probably to 8th with Cameron Rich there to join the club. Chuck Sweeting and Brent Miller going at it for a top 10 position, but we're going to go back to the front because Miller is making this entertaining to watch, that's for sure. I've seen him all over the place tonight, and I'm just not sure we can trust that car to stay in one piece for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, you can't really count on it, especially with how high he's driving that car mid-corner. Every time that interval flickers, I think there's a caution, but that 09 car has been running it really close to the wall, but it only takes one slap on that wall for him to lose a lead here and possibly the race. But that 3 car has been really good. He's been running lower than that 3 car has, and he's been able to, or than that 09 car has, and he's been able to make up time. I'm surprised by that.
A big moment for the 3 car into turn 3, slid up the racetrack. It's not the line he's been taking the last few times. He's been kind of going in low, kind of drifting up to the middle of the corner, then exiting low as well. But it seemed like he carried a lot of speed that time through, and he's not quite back to the rear bumper of James Miller, but maybe that's a learning experience. He's trying something and moving around to try to find grip. I think James Miller is just hucking it into the corners and finding grip manually, where Tanner Sharpe is being a bit more delicate about how he's going about it.
Yeah, Tanner Sharpe has been, sort of letting the race come to him like everybody else has, like Jordan McEvoy. He's running 4th right now. Jonathan Cogswell with his, probably his first top 5 of the season, is running 5th right now. So great run from him, but everyone's letting the race come to him, and that's what the 3 car is doing with this 09 car, letting him make the mistakes and capitalizing on them when they happen.
You're correct. He does not have any top 5s this season. He has 1 top 10. He sits 13th in the points as it stands. Tanner Sharpe getting after it at the exit of turn 2, but he's dropping off a little bit deeper in the field. Cameron Rich, I thought we'd see this car climb a bit more once I saw him inside the top 10. I thought he'd drive up through the field. He still seems stuck in 8th place right now.
Yeah, that 17 car was involved in an earlier incident, especially on that restart there, so that 17 car has seen better days. But he's running 8th right now. It's certainly a better comeback compared to some others like Matt Gruenberg. He is unfortunately out of the race. Unofficially scored 23rd. But that 3 car has a big run in that 09 car. He's going to send it into 3.
Oh, he's going to touch him. Oh, he tags him, and Miller's going to slide through turn number 3. He gathers it up and continues. What a moment for the leader.
Man, I thought he was going to scrape the wall there. What a great job he did to keep it off the wall there as we get a replay here.
Holy cow. That is awesome. As he just full-on Tokyo'd that through turn 3 and 4. And, well, I think we're in South Carolina. That was a move straight out of Tokyo Drift from Japan. Here's another look from on board the 3 car.
Yeah, he saw that as his moment to get inside that 09 car. I think he has to send it in like the 09 car did when he passed the 3. I just think he isn't brave enough to do it now, but we're going to go back live here. Man, that was really close.
Oh, my gosh. Just how
Look at the job
much
he does.
angle he's got in that car. That's got to be the moment of the race for sure, maybe of the season for James Miller, but he leads now by 4/10. That almost spin spooked off the 3 car just a little bit as you see up the road. The 00 Corey Lindsay going at it with the 02 of Jeremiah Llewellyn on separate laps, these two. But Corey Lindsay is the last driver on the lead lap and trying to run away from the 2 top runners.
Well, yeah, if you're Tanner Sharpe, it's more of a, sportsmanship type thing. You just want to let them have their gap back and try to chase them back down cleanly and pass them there. So you never want to pass someone by bumping them out of the way, especially when, they've raced you cleanly all race. You don't want to be the one that, makes that first attack on them.
Oh no, Tanner Sharpe!
Oh, no.
Oh, man. And just like that, it's over.
You really hate to see it. What a great run he was having, a breakout run during this race. What is he's doing there? But man, he tried to get too much out of one set of corners.
Yeah, gets up in the middle of the corner, and he tracks up to the outside wall, and I don't think he ever gets down low enough and just misses it.
Yeah, he missed the apex there, and
that's
big
it.
Impact. Yeah. Really shows you how fast things can change. We're talking about a chance to win, and here he is, running, I want to say maybe, yes, it's 13th. So, great run gone south. Quickly.
Yeah, and he's not going to end up finishing there. That car is going to probably end before the race does. Meanwhile, for 2nd place, now this has become the most important one on the racetrack with 73 laps to go next time by. Jordan McEvoy putting pressure on RAYCE CLARK in the U-Tool Ford Thunderbird. 5 seconds back from James Miller. This is Miller's race to lose if it goes green. If we get a caution, I got my eyes on that 21 car. I think McEvoy is the one to watch, the silent driver here, if RAYCE CLARK doesn't get the job done on the restart, but it could be very, very close.
Yeah, that 21 car has done a great job keeping his car clean, but I just think he's been lacking a little bit of a, overall speed compared to that 09 car. Hasn't been able to get the restarts timed correctly, and he hasn't been able to make the short run happen. On the long run, he really strides ahead of everybody else that he's racing. Not quite to the level of 3 in the 09, but definitely a 3rd best contender.
They're going to both lose a bunch of time to James Miller, so they're going to need a caution flag or some very clever strategy as Tanner Sharpe hits pit lane. The night likely over for him, unfortunately, and that will add him to the list of DREW EISENMAN, Nick Boyd, Matt Gruenberg, Alex Boyd, Michael Goodman, and Dustin Dewar, the drivers that are out for the count here in this race, which is race number 10 of the season. As we get closer and closer to the end of this race, the intensity is going to pick up, and I think people will start to run out of patience for each other, and the passing has been a challenge tonight, Liam, so I'd say we're not done with cautions just yet.
Yeah, I was kind of go back on my statement earlier. I mean, I thought it would be easier to pass when night came into play here, but with everyone not sliding around as much, I mean, it's a really cold track, as we noted earlier, and it's only even colder now compared to when it was, you know, 74, yeah, about the same. So I eat my words on that, but
sorry, I had to check myself. I didn't know, but I think the point stands. The rubber certainly changes the dynamics of the track as well.
yeah, definitely. And you know, we just have I want to say about just over half an hour left if this keeps going green to the end. So you know, this race feels like it's forever, but man, if you're these drivers, you're feeling every second of this race.
You know, it's certainly not a short one. This has been probably the longest oval race we've done on Sim TV in a couple months at the very least. Which, I mean, this isn't really that long. We've only been live for about an hour and 20 minutes, but by the end of this thing, it'll be probably well over a 2-hour-long broadcast. Well, that's just the way things roll here with a race like this. However, with drivers continuing to battle, it has been entertaining up front. In the midfield, it's been a little bit more tame so far tonight, but Sam Close in the 5, he has found his way into 6th after starting in 17th, quietly worked his way inside the top 10.
Well, yeah, let's not try to give the commentators curse here, as we saw with that 3 car. We were rooting them on somewhat on that 09 car. Yeah, hopefully Tanner Sharpe can get it done and perhaps try to snag a top 5 here from the 17 of Cameron Ritchie's been doing a great comeback.
Yeah, where did he come from?
Yeah,
I was going to say that we were kind of talking about how his progress had stalled, but here he is inside the top 5. Maybe it hasn't.
And one driver I want to know, you know, we've been kind of throwing his name around. Jonathan Cogswell, he passed Jordan McEvoy, and he's on the back bumper of RAYCE CLARK for 2nd.
Wow. Cogswell started in 20th, which is the position of the last driver on the racetrack, which is Tanner Sharpe. Now he is pulled off into the pit area, but he's not officially retired. I imagine that will come here shortly. But Cogswell is one of the, actually last time by, was the 2nd fastest car of the top 5 drivers. Cameron Rich might have eclipsed that just a little bit, but Cogswell is fast. But I would be watching the 17 behind him as probably the favorite of this bunch now as they get all closer together. They're all 6.2 behind James Miller, but 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are all about a second and about under a second apart. So really, it's anybody's race from 2nd on back.
Yeah, I mean, if you're all these guys, you know, you're hoping that you can get a caution and, you know, have a chance to chase for that trophy here. But James Miller, he's checked out from these guys, but, you know, everyone's battling for 2nd in points while, you know, some drivers may not have the championship in mind. They may have, you know, a higher point spot, you know, in mind. I'm pretty sure there's a payout for wherever some drivers finish regarding the points. So we're trying to get a higher payout compared to anyone else, if that is true.
Yeah, that is.
Maybe thinking of Urska. But, yeah,
same format here.
Yeah, so these drivers are hoping to get a higher payout. So while it may not be a championship, you know, they can get the higher payout at the end of the season.
Cogswell now dealing with a whole bunch of cars stacked up behind him. Jordan McEvoy and Cameron Rich is back and ready to play for 4th place. Going to size him up here and try to get a run onto the straightaway down the backstretch now. Look at the speed he's able to carry. And last time was 0.3 faster than everybody in front of him, with the exception of Miller, who was 0.1 faster than. So he is flying and trying to work his way by that bright green leprechaun-colored number 21. They touch in a big moment out of turn 4.
What a great job everyone's been doing to keep their cars straight, but everybody, I keep thinking every time someone touches a car, you know, with a cup car, you know, if you just tap another car, you're going to be shooting into the inside wall and pretty much night over. But everyone's been able to keep their car going, and that 17's all over the background for the 21 car.
And he'll have a good run here, and I don't think McEvoy will fight this too much longer. He's going to let him go now. Maybe try to cross him up. That might be a better option, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. So Cameron Rich is now 4th, and you see 3rd and 2nd in that shot. Rich is coming, and the question now remains, with about 60 laps to go, can he run down James Miller? No, but we still have a pit stop left to go, and that's where I see the 17 getting the upper hand.
Yeah, the 17 car, he won't have a chance for the lead, but he'll be able to probably get 2nd here. I mean, he may be able to do it before the pit stop. He's been quicker than this 22 and this 27 car, and he's definitely the quicker of these two. Just as I say that, he slams the wall there. So apologies, Cameron, for jinxing you, but that 17 car has been the car to beat here.
Sam Close, Jordan McEvoy, Nick Miller going for 5th, 6th, 7th. McEvoy dropping backwards now, the pace kind of leaving that car. But Rich continues to run faster than the top spot driver, James Miller. 6.7 is the overall lead from first to second. I'm watching the gap between Rich and the race leader. It is now 7 seconds flat. Cogswell hard in the wall in turn number 3, and he will drop now 4 spots down to 7th in the last couple laps, so he is not having a good time, and that was a really big hit. He lost a bunch of momentum. Back to second place, though. Rich sizing him up.
And you're starting to see him, you know, he's able to get on the gas way earlier than everyone else, but he's able to get a huge run on the straightaway, you know. That's, of course, it's not a good example whenever I mention it, but he's able to you know, take that wider arc and then get in the gas really early and cut down a little bit lower than that 22 car. He's able to take that momentum out of the straightaway and try to look inside.
Again, I'm watching the gap between Cameron Rich and the race leader, James Miller. So this is the gap here that I'm watching up to the race leader. 7.3 at the line that time. And with Rich battling Clark, I'm sure this will extend slightly, but once he gets by, I wouldn't be shocked to see that 7 turn into a 6 and then maybe into a 5, but he's got to get this pass done quickly and get by the 22.
Yeah, it's definitely no easy task to pass Race Clark. He's one tough guy to pass. He'll race you hard and race you clean, but definitely not an easy pass to be made here. Race Clark is trying to hang on to a second place, and I'm pretty sure he's pretty high up in the points right now, so he's trying to get every point he can, because you never know if James Miller has a bad race at maybe a super speedway, he'll be out of the contention, or at least reel in that 22 car as he lets him by.
And we have Talladega on November 30th, so that is the super speedway that you would be referencing, and Race Clark is 5th in the points. And again, Cameron Rich does not care about points. He did lose over a second and a half to the race leader while battling the 22, so that might be a bit of a concern. Jeffrey Fischer going to hit pit lane, and this could start a rash of pit stops as we are under 60 laps to go. Cogswell is down as well, and now for Rich and Miller, I think if I'm Cameron Rich, I follow and do exactly what Miller is doing. If I'm Cameron Rich, I'm confident I can beat him. We'll see if it works out. Let's have a look at their stints. 38 laps since Cameron Rich. Oh, he's in the fence. 38 laps since he came to pit lane. 41 since James Miller came to pit lane. So there is a slight advantage to Cameron Rich's tires, and we'll see. But oh, here comes the 22 now to contest this. I don't know. I don't think this is smart by Race Clark. I think he should let the 17 go. I think the 17 is faster, Liam, and you want Rich to go up there and battle the 09 in hopes, if you're Race Clark, that they make contact and crash out.
Yeah, you saw them, you know, you saw the 22 car. He thought better of it, and that 5 is going to look that as an opportunity to get to his inside. A pass isn't going to happen here. Too tight. Not going to happen. That 22 is going to rocket on the outside and get by the 5.
Yeah, this is getting really congested behind Race Clark, and now Sam Close and Jordan McEvoy going to trade spots. Miller backs out of the throttle, but he's got Chuck Sweeting up his rear bumper as well. Going to try 3 wide for a moment. He thinks better of that, and McEvoy's through, so it slims back out to 2 wide, and the 9 car sweeps through to 5th place. Nick Miller having a Blurry Motorsports night of the year for him as he jumps up into 5th.
Yeah, and that 9 car, he's been pretty much carrying the banner for Blurry Motorsports. I believe the 3 car was on that team, and he was in contention earlier in this run, but that 9 car wasn't able, or that 3 car wasn't able to get it done, and so he's now carrying the banner for that team.
Yeah, and another Blurry Motorsports car is the 00, who had a really good run going, was still running pretty well, but just came down to pit lane to get tires and fuel in this car for the final sprint to the end. As we go back to McEvoy, because he's got Miller going for 4th place now into turn 3, and Miller's going to sail down on the apron with the left side tires on the white line. Can't get the grip to stick to the ground, and the 21 stays out front of the 9 for now.
Yeah, that 21 car has been able to take a defensive line, and he's been able to do that just because he has a clean right side. Oh, a little bit of a ding on the right, but nothing major. But that 21 car is the cleanest car in the field. I wouldn't, you know, I'm pretty confident in saying that. That 21 car has been able to keep it on the wall, and he's been able to stay really defensive with his driving here.
I would definitely agree with you that I think this is one of the cleanest cars left in the field, and it's paying off for him. He's run 4th. Sam Close peeling off. This is a really tricky pit entry, but Close does a nice job getting himself down there. That is where Cameron Rich can make up time on James Miller, is on the pit road entry. If Miller is too conservative or if he makes a mistake, all Cameron Rich needs to do is make sure that he nails it. And this is something that you should practice, because this is one of the hardest tracks. I think Chicagoland's also tricky. How about this battle for 4th now? 3 wide.
3 wide for fourth here. Actually, that car is going to bow out of line here, so that's going to be the 9 versus the 21 car. These guys are going at it for the past few laps, and don't look too far back to see the 26 of Chuck Sweeting. He takes away fifth.
Yeah, Chuck Sweeting now through past Nick Miller, and the consistency has just not been there for either the 21, the 26, or the 9, so they're all sort of competing for the least inconsistent of the inconsistent. And that has sorted itself out. Closing in on 50 laps to go now. Sam Close has been down on pit road for a while, but he's about to get turned back loose on the racetrack. And Miller, when does he pit? I think he just runs the tank out of fuel and goes then, but if you're Cameron Rich, I want to follow the 09. I'm confident he can beat him on pace alone because Miller's been so much or so inconsistent hitting the fence. But the other thought, Liam, is if you come early, you come a few laps early, you might be able to get a couple seconds back. But the lap time between new tires and old tires is not that significant, so I don't think an undercut is the way to win this race.
Well, yeah, if you're the 17 car, if you can get an advantage on him, that's any advantage you can get is a positive one. But you're gonna have to bank it all on this pit entry. You can gain probably 2 seconds as the 26 comes in really hot there. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that 26 car really close. But if you're the 17 car, you're thinking about pit entry and you're thinking, okay, how am I gonna time this? How late can I get on the brakes? Because that can gain you as much as 2 seconds.
Cameron Rich running in second place. It's 1.1 behind him to find RAYCE CLARK, then McEvoy, Miller, Nissel, Hines, Sweeting, Miller, and Kolb, the rest of your top 10. As it stands, we have 7 cars on the lead lap, but we're kind of in the middle of a pit cycle, so it will all organize itself out. If you're watching still here on Sim TV, you can join us again tomorrow night for Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series action from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Then Wednesday, Circuit of the Americas from Austin, Texas, the DC Region SCCA iRacing League. Myself and Tom O'Gorman in the booth for that one, 4-time IMSA winner and 2-time World Challenge TC America champion. So we'll be joining you then on Wednesday at 8 o'clock for GT4 and TCR. Then Thursday, Scars Ferrari Challenge. That will be from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport, as we head off into the last 50 laps or so of this race. So 12.2 second gap between Miller and Rich, and it looks like Miller is coming to slow to pit lane. Here he comes.
Oh wow, this pit lane comes up on you quick here, and that 09 not really aggressive with that pit entry, so that's a really big opportunity for that 17 car to come in and close in that gap really quickly as he's in third gear. Here he comes.
And charging it a little bit on entry, and nicely done. I think he gained a little bit of time, but it's all going to come down to the time they spend on pit lane. So here is the pit timer for the number 09. And the time in pit lane begins and ends at the yellow and green cones. And in the pit box is the pit time itself. So Miller trying to maximize, or I guess minimize, the time in pit lane in total. Can't really control your actual stop time. So right sides go up, and then the left sides will go up, and then it's all going to be about who can get out on the racetrack again most efficiently to see if maybe Cameron Rich can eat into that time a little bit. So 21.6 seconds stop, and total time on pit lane 55.5. Cameron Rich leaving pit lane. Can he do better than a 21?
Yeah, it's going to be close.
21.1 and a 54.5. So he gained a second on pit lane. That will be important later.
Yeah, as long as he can maintain on this pit road exit here, he may be able to claw in a little bit more, but it's going to be interesting to see if he can get aggressive enough. And here he is. He's flat out, and he's able to get back going. And we're just going to see. Time will tell if he can reel in this 09 car. They can make it on gas from here.
Going to be a tall task. That's for, oh, he's in the fence, and he just threw away every little bit of the advantage he just had. He'll be kicking himself for that one. But I think now, with that mistake, if he doesn't have the pace, he will need a caution. I just don't know how likely that is with Corey Lindsay off the racetrack. He's done for the night. So 18 cars on the track and only a handful of them on the same lap. You're not going to have a lot of battling. So I just don't think a caution is that likely.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be, we see with most Darlington races, if cautions come out, it's usually...
Oh, there might be a yellow. The 11 car and 12 almost get together in turn 1. And Nissel's the race leader. That was dicey, but he gets through.
Yeah, just as we were talking about a caution, we almost got one there. But, we see in most Darlington races, the cars that usually spin around or have trouble, usually take themselves out earlier in the second half of the race. Cars really clean themselves out, and we don't really see any incidents.
We haven't really seen a whole lot in general. What, do we have 3 cautions? Not a whole lot for this long of a race. But, you know, to some extent, that's a good thing. We've got more cars running than we otherwise would have. Darlington is always hard attrition-wise. Even without a bunch of cautions, you always lose a bunch of cars just to single car accidents and pounding the right side of the car against the wall. There's Jeffrey Fischer. How about him? He was a lap down earlier in this race. He runs 9th right now. But I think he's still... Oh, he came to pit lane a little earlier. Can he go to the end, though? That's a long time to go on fuel.
Yeah, it's a pretty tall task to go. I mean, if you're the 98, I mean, you're you know, a lap down right now. If you can stretch it, that'll be probably a 14th, 15th place day turned into a 9th.
Nissel has gone 56 laps. We know you can go at least that far. We've had drivers run longer. But with 40 laps to go here in a few minutes, will be about 20 minutes of racing remaining. And Richard Hines finds himself in 2nd place. James Miller is back up into 3rd. And the big question is, where will Cameron Rich stack up in relation? Because last time by, he ran a full second faster than Miller. And this time by, you think he'll be a couple tenths better. 30.6 is not all that quick to be right out of the pits. Rich lost some time, 31.2. Kind of tit for tat here and there. I can't tell who's trending in the better direction.
Yeah, you can't really tell. They kind of trade each other with lap times here, so it's pretty fascinating to see these two trade these their lap times, and you know, which one's faster. We don't know until the long run comes in here. You know, these guys are on pretty fresh tires right now, so you know, short run speed is a long way away from long run speed. So we're gonna see if that 17 could try to reel them in.
Working to the last 40 laps of this race. 40 laps to go from Darlington. Skylar Nissel is the race leader, but again, he has to pit along with Richard Hines, and that will complete our pit cycle. And James Miller, again, losing a little bit of time to Cameron Rich that previous lap, but it's going to have to be more than a tenth of a second a lap. Rich needs to take out, you know, 2 or 3 tenths every lap for the remainder of the race, and that's just asking a lot. Okay, that time was a full second, so maybe there is something there for Cameron Rich to chase down Miller. There he is down the backstretch. And where is Cameron Rich? There he is, still a long distance.
Yeah, good ways away for Cameron Rich for him to reel in that gap, but James Miller on
7 points. Sorry to cut you off. 7.7 seconds is the differential between those two, and that means that Rich has made up about 4 seconds, and some of that was in the pit, some of it was on the racetrack. So we'll keep an eye on that gap between James Miller and Cameron Rich.
He's probably kicking himself for that earlier wall scrape incident. It could probably be 6 seconds or maybe 5.5 or something. So if he just didn't hit that wall earlier on, he may be even closer. And James Miller must be starting to feel a little bit of heat. Not as much pressure, but he's starting to feel the heat.
It's consistency that's the problem for Cameron right now. Here and there, he's running, you know, mid to low 30s, and then he'll run a 31 something. It's just he needs to be consistent. That time he lost a half a second, so it's just he needs to figure out how to run the times on a more consistent basis if he wants to run down the 09 Miller. I think he's got the pace. He just needs to run it every lap, which is a tall task, especially with traffic.
Indeed, he's been able to run really well as the 11's really stretching that fuel tank. I'm actually kind of surprised by how long they're deciding to run this race, so or run this fuel stint. So they're really banking on the caution right now, but I don't think that's going to be a viable option for him, as James Miller really close to the wall there, as he's going to run. That's the one thing I've noticed. Like, these guys are really running really close to the wall mid-corner, as you see James Miller do right here. And then when they get on the straightaway, they run maybe a lane, maybe almost a lane and a half off the wall.
Well, the difference is that on the straightaways, you don't have the banking to help keep you off of it. It seems like these cars will just kind of magnetize towards the safer barrier if you just drive them straight. They just want to steer to the right with the way that their rear ends are set up. So I would be staying a lane or two off the wall as well. But in the corners, you don't really have much of a choice. You have to drift up there. Sweeting and Miller, they've been going at it for a little while. Now it's for 6th. Now that McEvoy and Clark have gotten back by them.
Yeah, a little bit of a dogfight going on here. The 9's big quicker than the 26 car, but the 26 is actually driving away a little bit, so staying corrected. But this 9 car has been struggling with that damage here. 26 truck Sweeting is quite a fairly clean car, I would say. Not as bad as the 9, not as good as the 21 though. but definitely a, I guess, the second best looking car in show as far as damage goes.
7.7. That gap between Miller and Rich is just teasing me every couple laps because it comes down about a second and then it drifts back up to 7 or 8 tenths more than what it was before. So as we close in on the final 30 laps, I'm predicting here that Rich will not be able to catch Miller without a yellow just because it has not been consistent enough for me to really believe that. But Nissel pits and he'll head down pit road. That puts RAYCE CLARK in third. I still think he can win this race if we get a caution flag, which I still think is unlikely.
Yeah, he's been really aggressive on the restarts here. So if we can get a, a restart with maybe 5, 6, maybe 4 laps to go, we could see him really shine and perhaps be better than the 09 car in the short runs. That's the thing I've noticed. Like the 09 car, he's been really, really good in the long run. On the short runs, he's not able to get it done.
RAYCE CLARK's engine sounds a little funny. Like it's going, something's going wrong with it, but that couldn't possibly be the case as he works through turn 1. Sounds a little shaky.
Yeah, an E-valve going wrong or something.
Yeah, something like that. 7.5 is the gap across the line this time, a 31.1 to a 31.0, and we'll see if Rich can improve this time. 31.1 to a 31.2. No, again, it's just not there on a consistent basis, and that has got to be the most frustrating feeling in the world as we go back to 5th place now with Nissel out of the way, Sweeting and Miller, again, for a top 5 position.
Yeah, the 9 has been able to, these guys have been kind of trading lap times here. That 9's been able to dig in when the 26 doesn't, so that 9 car has been quicker than the 26 car, but as you see off turn 2, that 26 is just so much better than the 9 car.
Following through 3 and 4, Sweeting a little bit higher at the corner exit than the driver, than the driver behind him. No other major battles on the racetrack other than this one. Everyone else has found their own room to race as we approach 30 laps to go. 15 minutes remaining from the 3-Wide Racing League Cold Hard Art Cup Series round number 10 from Darlington.
Yeah, this is going to be a really long 15 minutes for James Miller. He just has to be perfect. Hope for there's no caution to come out here as Cameron Rich is trying to claw into that lead, but it's just not enough. He's just not consistent along all these laps.
Yeah, he's trending in the positive direction, but it's taken him about 10 laps to even get a trend going in that direction, so I'm just not confident he can do it without help from a yellow. But with these two going at it, I think there's still a possibility. Plus, there's always the chance that someone gets the fence out of turn 2 and knocks down the wall on the inside, bringing out a caution. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. Again, if you're watching Sim TV now, we can watch it again tomorrow night, 8:45 p.m. from Atlanta Motor Speedway. That'll be a fun one. The NASCAR Xfinity Series cars for the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. Wednesday night, again, Circuit of the Americas for the Washington, D.C. region SCCA. They're restarting their winter series. It'll be myself and Tom O'Gorman commentating that, GT4 TCR. And Thursday, Scars Ferrari Challenge from Mosport at 8:30 p.m. And then Friday, of course, we are off. And Saturday, both Formula I and Outsider Racing League heading to their respective races, Silverstone and Kentucky. So Nick Miller, Liam, still leaning on the back bumper of this 26, but it's been par for the course. Trouble passing cars tonight, it seems.
Yeah, it's just, that seems to be the common story with everybody. You know, once a car gets to the back bumper, they just can't really get to the inside of them because there's just not enough room to do so. It's really just one lane at this point. You see this pretty much everybody mirroring the same line, maybe a lane, maybe half a lane lower.
Ooh,
but you know, entry, oh man, and that's pretty much it's going to be at least a battle that's going to have to wait another 10-15 laps for Nick Miller.
So nothing has really happened of significance in the last 30 or 40 laps here. As we approach the final 20, Miller leads now by 8 seconds, and that gap continues to expand. Now, everyone that's not James Miller is hoping for a yellow. You see Jonathan Cogswell still running inside the top 10 after that wall impact he had. He was running as high as, I believe, second or third, and now he's back in 8th. And while a top 10 would certainly be a good run for him, I think he'll be disappointed he couldn't maintain the podium finish potentially.
Yeah, but, you know, I don't really think it's too much of a, you know, knock on him. I mean, it's still a really great run for him, and he can't be disappointed with that. It's pretty much a statement that, hey, I can run up here, just got to iron out the mistakes, and maybe we'll see a podium this season out of the 2017.
We're going to do a SimTV sound surge. You're going to crank it up at home and listen to the sounds of the 1987 stock cars here on SimTV. .20 laps to go from Darlington Raceway for the 3-Wide Racing League Cold Hard Art Cup Series. James Miller leads by 9.2 seconds as he comes across the line, officially marking 20 to go. Liam, been a long race tonight, but the final 20 laps, the end is in sight for James Miller. This would be his 6th win out of 10 races this season.
Yeah, just about 10 minutes of racing left, so it's just 10 short minutes for this 09 car just to run perfect laps for him, and it's just not too much longer for this 09 car to pick up win number 6 in the season, and that's crazy to say with James Miller. It's just such a big number to talk about in the wins column. You know, you don't really see that out of many leagues, and James Miller just showing that he's a championship favorite.
That is definitely the case here as Jordan McEvoy, Chuck Sweeting going at it. This could be a yellow, and if this is, that changes a whole lot of things, but so far they leave each other plenty of space as they come across the line now. Sweeting wants 4th, McEvoy wants to hang on to it.
Yeah, McEvoy, he's been getting a little bit of a challenge for that 26 car. That 9 car dropped back from the 26 that allowed Chuck to set his sights on this 21 car, and he's been able to reel him in, and it's just he's just not been able to get a spot, you know, on him, because every car in this field has just had trouble passing with this rubber being laid down on the racetrack. It just makes it one groove.
Laps taking off like the hands of a clock, and they're running out of time to have somebody go after James Miller, and stacked up a little bit behind the number 20 of Brady Smith. That's again McEvoy and Sweeting. Sweeting's going to build a really big run here and have a look down into turn 3. And he's going to just push the 21 off into the corner. Will not make an attempt to pass.
And that's smart, you know, just want to let the spot come to you. If that 21 car beats himself, you're able to take advantage and just drive away. You just don't want to use up your tires trying to make a pass that won't stick. Or you don't want to use up that fender, you know, spinning the 21 car and causing a yellow and having a restart.
Jeremiah Llewellyn has had a really tough night. He is 4 laps down. He hasn't even been in a wreck. He's just been off the pace tonight, just trying to survive. He's knocked the right side off the car, but this has just been a night to forget for him, as well as Mike Stevens. We saw him. He was our first yellow of the night, turned around backwards on the back straight. And Corey Shellman, this has been an interesting one for him, new to the series. Almost had an incident with the race leaders early in the going, has sort of been dodging and weaving to try to stay out of the way tonight, but it has just not been a fun one for him. He is one of only 3 drivers to have a best lap time slower than 31 seconds flat, which is a full second off the pace of the race leader. So that just goes to show you how tricky it is out here as we continue to watch 4th place scrap between McEvoy and Sweeting.
Yeah, we all just have those racetracks where we just don't get yet. And, you know, given more races, given more track time with those 3 cars, they'll be able to get at a higher rate of speed. So just give them time. They'll be able to, you know, get their laps in and get quicker. Just all in time. So
and full disclosure, I'm really bad at Darlington. Just going to throw that out there. But here we go. Here's McEvoy going by the 52 of Justin Kolb. This is going to spice things up a little bit as Sweeting is going to look for the hole, and there's not going to be one for a second. Big slide through the middle of 3 and 4, and that's going to kill the momentum of the 21, and Sweeting smells blood in the water.
Yeah, not big of enough of a run for him to take a challenge into turn 1, so he's going to wait for that 21 to make another challenge on that 52 car. What a rally back from the 52 car. It's been, well, actually, never mind. He's a lap down, so yeah. He's actually holding up the 21 car, but you know, the 26 car is going to try to use this lap car as a pick, and it's not going to happen just yet. That 52 has been running probably just as quick as the 21 car has. It just hasn't been able to pull away from him.
Coming next time by to 12 laps to go for the race leader. It's a 10.5 second gap. James Miller has been in another zip code, not only this season, but also here in South Carolina today. And McEvoy and Sweeting is the only battle really happening on the racetrack on the lead lap, as Sweeting gets a really good run here, and this might be it. As they bomb off down into turn number 3, he's going to clear the 21, and he's through.
He made that look easy. He just got alongside him on the straightaway, and once he got, you know, 3/4 clear going into 3, it was pretty much it. He can just send it in there, drag it up, and can't really cross him over with how one groove this racetrack has become with this 87 car.
Yeah, it really is. You mentioned one groove. It really is single groove, and this is way more single groove than I thought it would be. You could typically this track races fairly well with all kinds of race cars. I don't think it's really raced all that great with these cars. As there's 52 cars going to slam the fence, and he gets turned by the 21. He gets back straight, but I am not surprised that happened because the 52 let the 26 by and then didn't let the 21 by. Why? I mean, he's not battling for a free pass. I think that was just Justin Kolb getting moved, and I can't really blame Jordan McEvoy for feeling the need to move him.
Yeah, maybe the 52 car got rubbed off the wrong way earlier in the season by the 21 car, so maybe a little bit of a, you know, smug payback there, but you know, the 21 car now does not have a clean race car anymore, with a little bit of right front damage with that 52 car, and that's going to pretty much be all she wrote before this battle for 4th place.
Yeah, it still could spice back up again, especially with a couple more lap cars up the road, but with 10 laps to go, the time is running out. But it's a big lead for James Miller. He has slowed down a lot, but I think he's sort of conserving his lead. It's 8.84 still. Even if he gives up a second a lap, that would just be enough time for Cameron Rich to get there. I think he's just managing. He doesn't need to push the issue here, and I don't think he will the next couple laps. Jeffrey Fischer in the 98. Well, he is certainly making the tires last. He will have to go just about 58 laps on these tires, and he's going to lose a spot. Oh, he's in the fence on the back straight. The 17 and 27 are going to get really tight together as they head off into 3. And Rich
Jonathan
squeezes through. Jonathan Cogswell back to 10th. Sorry.
Yeah, he's gone back quite quickly here. I mean, he's gonna. I don't think he'll fall out of the top 10. I mean, Jeffrey Fischer has fallen back quite a good ways from that 27 car, but Cogswell, you know, we were talking about a top 3 finish, and then it became a top 5 finish. The top 8, then here he is, top 10. Right now, hopefully, we're not talking a top 15 finish here, but Cogswell having a nice run here. You know, a great run earlier, just hasn't been able to put this last fuel run together.
Nissel and Hines, 8th and 9th right now, 0.3 of a second between them. That is a battle 1 lap down. Get a chance for green white checkered, so they're going to fight hard. They would be trying to fight hard with the free pass recipient, but that would be Sam Close if we were to get a caution. But Hines is not going to give up the fight just yet, still inside the top 10.
Only 7 laps left. I think it's gonna come
I think
down to
it's
6.
six.
Yeah, 6 now for James Miller. He's just taking it easy now. He doesn't really have to push it, yet he's going quicker as looks like he plugged in a phone.
Yes.
But,
I want to charge my phone. Don't crucify me. I've been sitting down here all day long. I can charge whatever I want. I just wish it didn't happen on the main monitor. As you see James Miller work his way through this time by, will be 5 laps to go now. And it has been a dominant night. Have a look at this. He has led 124 of the 179 laps we've run.
100 laps is impressive enough, but 124, I mean, that's a fairly decent margin in a 184 lap race. You know, the 11 car certainly made a dent into that, but yeah, this 09 car has pretty much been a dominating car all race, and he's gonna come and take 4 laps to go.
10-second advantage. It has not dwindled much since the pit stops. Cameron Rich was able to eat into that a little bit, but has since fallen back double-digit seconds behind the race leader. Skylar Nissel, Richard Hines, they're still going at it for positions. And Brent Miller in that 89 car, he has had a tough night. This is an interesting throw-forward paint scheme, running a modern Jeff Gordon, well, I guess a 2013, 2014 era Jeff Gordon paint scheme on a car from 87, so that's sort of an interesting take on the throwback. It's sort of throwing forward, I guess.
Yeah, that's somewhat of an interesting throwback for this car. Not something you see in most throwback races with this car. So that 2015 livery is, or God, now you got me saying it, but a 2015 paint with that number 89 car, quite a unorthodox paint among these.
I mean, that's what it is. It's a livery. I think the oval people get mad if I use that word because that's a road word, I think. Use paint scheme. A good old paint scheme down here in South Carolina.
Well, and, technically with these cars, I mean, it'd be era appropriate to say paint schemes.
Yeah, because it would be actual paint, generally.
Yeah.
So that's definitely true. And Richard Hines, he would like 8th place, and I think he will try for it with 2 laps to go for these guys. And for the race leader, James Miller, heading down the back straightaway. Liam, it's been a dominant show tonight as he rolls through turn 3 coming to the white.
Yeah, he's going to roll through this corner, and yeah, 1 more lap to go. He just wants to go this 100 feet here, and he could just relax through this final lap, you know, let it soak in, and win number 6 on the season. What a dominating performance it's been for James Miller.
Well, just like he did at, well, I guess it was Richmond where he got his first one, then Tsukuba, both races swept there, then Pocono, and then Iowa. For the 6th time this season, he makes it look easy, and tonight he will lead 129 laps of the 183, and out of turn number 4, no contest. James Miller is the winner in South Carolina at Darlington, and he has tamed the lady in black. He goes to victory lane. As Richard Hines has gotten through Skylar Nissel. Nissel wants it back as they come out of turn 4. Checkered flag for everybody else. And it'll be Hines with the 8th place spot. 3rd place, of course, or I should say 2nd, Cameron Rich, then 3rd, RAYCE CLARK, Sweeting 4th, and McEvoy in 5th.
And Jonathan Cogswell just misses out on that top 10 finish, and that's unfortunate for him. Oh, actually, no, he'll take it back, actually. So Jonathan Cogswell just snags a top 10.
11th place, it did recorrect itself.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. As they come out of 4, sometimes it takes a second to flip-flop them around a little bit where they're supposed to be. There is an official look at your top 10. Justin Kolb will be the one that ends up with that P10 position. And not much of a competition at the front. Really nothing much happened after about lap number 110. And everyone just kind of strung out and ran the rest of the race. But an endurance fight tonight. And Cameron Rich battles back from early issues to finish in 2nd tonight. So we'll have to talk to him. And big discussion for some of our front runners in the points. Eisenman and Gruenberg, 21st and 22nd. That'll be a big hit for sure. Yeah,
definitely. Those two don't really want to have a bad points day, especially this, well, it's somewhat late into the season. They definitely have time to make it back up, but it's definitely not a good thing. You don't want to, or it's definitely not a good thing to have, you know, a 24th place finish, you know, sticking out like a sore thumb amongst your results.
We're going to be back in just a moment with interviews. Hang tight in just a moment. Welcome back live to Sim TV, and we're now with our third place finisher, Race Clark, in the number 22 U-Tool Ford Thunderbird tonight. Love the throw. I guess that's a throw virtual to another game within the GTA universe. First of all, congratulations on a third place result tonight. Kind of a long one. Started third, finished third, so it seemed like 183 laps later, it pretty much went nowhere. But tonight, that was a good thing.
Oh yeah, let me tell you, Kyle. I went to Road Atlanta Saturday. I walked like 4 or 5 miles, and then come and do 183 laps. It's like a mostly green Bristol, Darlington. I'm wore out, but I'm happy I got third. It was actually a really fun race. I was afraid it'd be crazy, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, glad to hear that you went off to the IMSA race. Kind of jealous of that, but race, we'll see you at Charlotte. I think we go to Charlotte next week, then we go to Rockingham, and then the Charlotte Roval. So 3 interesting, tricky tracks coming up. So good luck there, and congrats on a third.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Kyle. Thanks all my friends watching. Y'all have a good night.
All right. Thanks, Race. Moving on now to Cameron Rich, second place tonight. Troubles early, some damage on the car, rebounds to second. Not quite enough pace, not quite enough luck to get a yellow flag in the closing moments there, Cameron, but started on pole, back for second. Happy with that or wanted a little bit more?
Well, I wanted a little bit more. First race back after being out a couple weeks, I had a new wheel and stuff, and I wasn't sure what to expect. But I got to say, this new Fanatec stuff is really nice. Definitely the best stuff I've ever had so far. But fun race. A little bit of contact there with James on lap 4. I don't really know what that was about. I thought he was kind of driving a little over his head, for so early on. But we kind of talked about that, and everything's all right. But definitely second place. I'm a little bit happy with that, but I'm like a lot more disappointed with that than I am, because I thought I had pace to catch James if I had maybe got the caution there at the end.
Well, still a really good run, a top 5 result for you, Cameron. Congrats, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
All right, moving on now to our race winner, James Miller. Getting really used to seeing James here in the booth for the 6th time this season, and this time he led a whole bunch of laps on the way to doing it. 129 laps led in a 183 lap race. Wow, that was a dominant performance tonight. At any point, were you worried about maybe not having the pace to run up there with Cameron trying to run you down, or were you pretty confident to get the job done?
I was definitely aware of his pace there towards the end, but after battling with Tanner so much, I figured that I could probably hold him off if he did catch me. But then I guess he fell off. I knew I had a really good long run car, and it wasn't that great on the initial restarts and at the beginning of the runs. So I was really hoping there wasn't a caution at the end, and then some pit strategy that would probably not go my way again to happen. But really interesting that this race went that green. None of us really expecting it. I'm definitely glad it did. It helped me. It benefited me a lot. Yeah, I beat up that right side though a little too much.
So looking at the car here on camera, I'm not sure we have a whole lot of space left for winter stickers. I think I see one more space. Where do they go? You start stacking them up double stacked on the side?
Yeah, I haven't got that far. I'm gonna have to figure that out. We're gonna have to get really creative with that, because I do plan on winning a couple more races here. So we'll see. But it was a decent run for the team in general. I know Matt had a really rough race, unfortunately. Not really exactly sure all that took part, but definitely sounded like he got a lot of damage. Jordan had a really good run. Jeff was doing good, and then had a right rear, I guess, go down there towards the end. Was trying to limp it around and try to get the best he could there, but yeah, that car was fun. I'm not really a big fan of this track. Not necessarily I don't like it. It's just, it's Darlington. It's tough. You got to focus all the time, and usually I get a little sidetracked, especially leading. Start looking over at other things in the sky or something and smack the wall a lot. So fortunately, the damage seemed to not affect the car that much. Unfortunately, didn't get the 0x bonus points, but I think we have enough bonus points coming into the playoffs.
We certainly got a lot of points in general and a lot of wins. I have to figure out what to do with the stickers. James, congratulations on your 6th win. We'll see you next week at Charlotte.
All right, thank you.
Sure thing. And with that, that's going to end things out for tonight. We'll see you next week from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Next up on Sim TV tomorrow will be Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. Then Wednesday, Circuit of the Americas with the Washington, D.C. region SCCA. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. I'm Kyle Heyer. Was with Liam Sheen this evening. We'll see you next time.